Take Charge of Your Health with Corinne Fernari, clinical nutritionist, physician assistant, and Carol Peterson, pharmacist. Listen, learn, and I hope you enjoy the show. Bye!
Welcome back. This is Take Charge of Your Health with Corinne Fernari, clinical nutritionist and physician assistant, and my co-host, Carol Peterson, pharmacist. Every week, we present you with new and creative ways to help you make sense of health information and bring it home to you and your family. With years of clinical experience between us and research into traditional and cutting-edge technologies, we give you practical information to help you take charge of your health. Welcome back. I am here with my co-host,
Carol Peterson.
And we're on our way. We have a really fun show, but really pertinent show. It really relates to you, to your life, to how you lead your life, and it has real life consequences. So we're going to start out reviewing some of the things we went over very quickly, and we're going to talk about glucose hacks. We're going to talk about triglycerides and LDL cholesterol. We're going to talk about how those all are sewn together and how insulin affects both of those. And so we got a lot to do. We're also going to ask you to join in on the conversation because with everything, everywhere you go on the internet, all they do is one person says, oh, you can't eat oatmeal. It's impossible. It's the worst thing you can do. The next person says, you've got to eat oatmeal. Oatmeal has all these nutrients. We're going a little zingy lately, trying to keep up with all the information. And then some of it is just sales information, exaggeration, and misinterpretation of some of the studies out. So, would you like to start, Carol?
Oh, where to start? So
I know. Where do we start?
we got to talking, and I actually was starting to prepare a piece on trying to make insulin more sensitive. And it's really kind of appalling because fasting insulin reading on a normal blood test, like you're going in for an annual test, they really fail to measure insulin. But
Always.
it's a silent thing, and it can get to be quite alarmingly high long before our blood glucose goes up. Now, the first person who can make a home monitor for
oh, that would be
insulin
wonderful.
Is going to be a trillionaire or something, because
Well,
worldwide we have big problems with metabolic syndrome, or we can also call it insulin resistance. The insulin you have doesn't work as well. And so this is a big subject and affects a lot of us. And as working with people, men and women with hormone problems, my opinion is insulin glucose, these two fundamental and powerful hormones, need to be at the top of your list before the others fall into line. What do you think?
25 years ago, we had a round table through WBAI, and Dr. Ali had called it at his office. Dr. Majid Ali, amazing doctor, absolutely wonderful. And he said at that time, the number one test that should be being taken are insulin levels, and nobody takes them. And that's where I first began to learn about the importance of insulin in relating to metabolic health. was right there working with WBAI, with Dr. Ali. It was amazing. So, what I'd like to do is I'll begin talking about, there is someone on the internet that both Carol and I follow. We like her very much. Well, there's a few that are very good, but we like her very much. What she does is she synthesizes very complex information and makes it easy for the layperson to take it up and utilize it in their daily life. She calls herself, no ego here at all, the glucose goddess, and you can see her on YouTube. So this is her list that I'll start and I'll pass it back forth and we'll explain each little piece. Eat foods in the right order. Now, we discussed that last week, and how by eating foods in the right order, we can literally change how we absorb the glucose and the percent of glucose spike that happens after we eat. We can lower the spike by 78%. Now, this was a study, this is an interesting piece. This was a study that came out in 2015. 2015. It was a small study, but what it did, it was a base to begin an inquiry as to what was happening. And what happened was they gave two groups of people, excuse me, the exact same foods, and what and but they gave them sequentially to one group. They started them out with vegetable, then they gave them meat, protein, they gave them actually chicken breast, then they gave them bread and butter. And what happened is there was a 39% difference in those that were given the sequential order of those foods to eat, and those people who were given no instruction could eat any way they wanted. They could have started with dessert first. It didn't matter. And so that's hack number one. Eat
Okay,
in sequence.
I'm gonna send a clunker here. I
Okie
have
dokie. Clunk.
this wonderful potato salad I make with my grandmother's secret sauce. So it contains potatoes and hard-boiled eggs, something crunchy. I just use celery and sweet onions, and it's so delicious. So now I've mixed up my vegetables with my starch and my protein.
Now, she said
What?
that it doesn't matter, that doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter?
But that's not what you're going to want to eat all day, every day. And when you have it mixed, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
You've got the protein balancing the carbs. You've got the fat from the mayonnaise balancing the carbs. And so so you've got a very good balance there. It's not the preference, but people cook stews and they've got vegetables and meat and potatoes in it. She said, don't worry about that. So that was her response exactly to your question.
Oh, thank you.
Hack
I,
number two,
so, hack
go
number
on.
2 is
Yeah,
veggie starter.
yeah,
Start at least one meal per day with a plate of vegetables, raw or cooked, with dressing sauce if you like. The fiber forms a kind of mesh in the gut that slows down carbohydrate absorption. So is this why we eat salads all the time? But they always bring
well,
us
that's funny
bread and butter.
because putting bread and butter on the table ruins it all.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but yeah, doing bread and butter ruins it all. But it's interesting because I was brought up in California. We always ate salad first, always. And then I moved to the East Coast, and nobody ate the salad first. They served the first was a pasta dish,
Mm-hmm.
and then meat, and then a salad. By the time you got to the salad, you took one bite, maybe two. So it was exactly the opposite. And that's when I started gaining weight. Okay. So how about hack number 3? Can you hear me, Carol? I can't hear you.
Yeah. It looked like Carol is going having issues. Corinne, why don't you
So I'll keep
go ahead
talking.
and we get
What?
her back?
Okay, I'll keep talking. So hack number 3, stop counting calories. And I'm going to say it again. Stop counting calories. What happens with calories? Okay, let's say it this way. I can give you 500 calories of donuts, which is easy to do. It's just a couple of donuts. And I could give you 500 calories of protein and vegetable and some olive oil. Wonderful meal. They're both exactly the same. They're both calories. But then what happens is looking at your blood sugar, you're going to have a totally different response to the meal as to the donuts. Your your blood sugar could surge up to 190, 180, even 200 with that load of donuts dipped in chocolate sauce, etc., etc. But with the
How
right
about a
mood,
Snickers bar? Is that the perfect
oh,
food?
oh, it's the perfect food for energy. But the meal, when you eat the meal, you could end up with about a 40 to 60% rise in your glucose, which is very normal. So stop counting calories and start looking at the quality of your foods. That's where it begins. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. So the fourth is a savory breakfast. So at this meal, you should have protein plus fat plus fiber, but no sweet items. You know, how many people have a piece of toast and orange juice? It makes me cringe. Anyway,
Uh, with
no,
jam on the toast.
with jam on the toast. And so you're right off to getting glucose spikes right at the start of your day. So it seems people have
which
done this.
which
People have done this, and I think she talks about it someplace too, that you could eat the same foods at a different time of day and have
and not have.
not have the same impact. And who were the two? Michael and Mary Eads wrote a
Oh
book,
yes,
actually, and lost considerably
protein power.
protein power. They started out that way too. You could eat carbohydrates, but no earlier than 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And
You know
the
what?
impact of the carbohydrates was much less then. What do you think?
Agree with you. When you eat carbohydrates first thing in the morning, you end up overworking your mitochondria, and it's rushing to try to keep up. And so it goes into a fatigue and it goes into a drop, a steep energy drop that you're fighting against all day if you're eating just carbs. And part of that are juices because juices remove the fiber from the food of the fruits and just absorbs so quickly it overwhelms your body with sugars. So yes, I totally agree with a savory breakfast. Now, that breakfast could be um, it could be eggs, it could be cottage cheese, it could be tofu, but it's a protein. fat base. How about a hack number 5?
Oh, I wanted to bring something up before we go past the idea of fiber. And I've seen this trending that a good start to any meal is a soluble fiber, not an actual food, like or there are some you could eat like artichoke or something, but they're wire gums and other fiber products that are marketed as being good for us. And could we use one of these fibers? And what advantage would those fibers have having it at the start of a meal? Corinne, do you want to take that on?
I can guess. I don't have a study in front of me, but I
Uh,
can guess. It's better than nothing.
okay, so
It's not.
so so
Go on.
soluble fibers. One of their marketing points is that these fibers actually feed your microbiome. The proper bacteria for your microbiome love them. So I think there might be something to if you wanted to have just your protein and no vegetables in your particular breakfast, you could have a fiber product as the first thing you do as well. So let's go on to number 5. I like what she says, all sugar is sugar.
Exactly. All these fake sugar products that they have, dextrose is sugar. They say no sugar, but we have maltodextrose. We have those are sugars. Honey is
Honey's good for
sugar.
us.
It's really hard to get real honey. It really is. And the thing that's happening right now, and many of you know about this and we've discussed it before, are people, and I forgot to say this when you talked about your grandmother's potato salad, is that many of us, even non-diabetics, are wearing glucose monitors. So if I were you, or you could send me over some, I would test it against my glucose monitor
Mm-hmm.
because, there's a whole continent that eats rice as their mainstay. And many of them, most of them, the majority of them are very slim. It was interesting because I had a rice-based meal and my blood sugar went up higher than it ever had been, even higher than if I had had dessert. So it's not right for me. So you have to find what might be, what obviously is right for many other people, but for me it's not right. So you find your individual um, ratios and understanding of what is right for you.
Dr. David Rosensweet runs clinical rounds every Wednesday, and we were focusing in on glucose monitors, and so he volunteered to wear one.
Oh,
And very interesting. So his reading for his favorite meal, he said, and he's been eating this for 40 years, was like stir-fried veggies on rice and maybe a little tamari sauce on that. And he eats it several times a week. He loves it. His blood glucose surged all the way to 200. Now,
whoa.
200 is definitely a diabetic level. Just,
Reaction to food.
yeah, just from a serving of rice. So there is also the issue I have read about, you probably had too if you want to comment, that you shouldn't eat freshly cooked rice. You should let it cool and eat it leftover, eat it the next day. What do you think?
Uh-huh. Well, I've heard that before also. Um, and like, I've heard that before. I've heard two things. I've heard that's the way you should eat it, and I've heard it makes very little difference. But that's when your glucose monitor comes in to play because you could test it. And there's someone on the internet, I don't really know his name, Joel something, I think, who literally does little shorts, and he's got a glucose monitor. I think he was a diabetic, but through foods he adjusted it. But he measures all these different foods for him. And he's very clear about it. This brought up my blood sugar 30 points. This brought up my blood sugar 10 points. This brought up my blood sugar 60 points. And he's getting to know what works for him within his scope of his physicality. And I think that that is really powerful. Hack 6.
Oh, one other thing, if you're using a glucose monitor, it's a great idea to have a buddy, like somebody in your
Yeah.
family, and you both eat the same meal, and look to see what happens with each person. And it can very well be one person has hardly any glucose,
Any reaction.
any spikes, very, very flat on the monitor, and the next person it's going wild. And you can actually have glucose spikes on your monitor from non-carbohydrate things. You can have it from proteins. If you have a protein sensitivity, up can go your blood glucose as a response.
So that's the part, and that's the power of individualizing and understanding your body. So hack 6 is pick a dessert over a sweet snack. So what does that mean? It means that if you're walking around and you're hungry, you don't get a candy bar, you don't. But if you want something equivalent to that, eat it after your meal. Don't eat between meals. Eat it after your meal, where your meal can moderate the effect of the sugar on your body. So having a dessert wouldn't be such a horrible thing if you ate it after your meal. If you ate it on an empty stomach, your blood sugar is going to surge. Any comments?
Is that why we have dessert?
One of the reasons.
I
You
was,
know, when I was brought up, we had dessert on Sundays. And after a meal, we would cut up apples and fennel, and we'd pass it around the table with little bits of cheese. And then on Sunday, we'd have a wonderful dessert that my grandmother made with eggs, with sugar, but it was, and with good oils. It was a whole food. And we did it every Sunday. So know yourself and know your body and how your body reacts, because what we're talking about might change your life and free you up. Because what happens is, we're not saying here, don't eat anything, don't eat this, don't eat that, don't this, don't that. No. What we're saying is, learn how to eat it and moderate it, and your whole physiology can change. You could have more energy throughout the day, more focus. It could be quite exciting for you. So hack 7, and this one you've all heard about.
Why don't we give out the phone number?
Okie dokie. It's 212-209-2877. 212-209-2877. And so hack 7 is vinegar. Vinegar can be taken 1 tablespoon in a tall glass of water with a straw, or a tablespoon over a salad, and up to 20 minutes before the meal. The acetic acid, reduces the spike of your meal, that's the sugar spike, by up to 30%. And that's been very well documented. Now, people like the gummies. The gummies are made with starch or with sugar. You, they've never been studied, and people don't seem to get the same results. It happens rapidly when you take it, but it takes time. 6 weeks to begin to see the results of it. 4 to 6 weeks. But it's working from day one.
This is also part of my grandmother's secret sauce.
Well, see, that's what happens. I'm not going to argue with you. Send me some and I'll eat it and tell you, because I've really been enjoying my glucose monitor, watching what we eat. So
Why don't you give us a couple points? What have you learned? We did talk about the monitors earlier on an earlier show, but you had just started using one, so you didn't have a
yeah,
lot
so
of experience yet. So in the meantime, do you have any observations that you think would be good to share here?
well, I did one. It surprised me how my body reacted to rice. I always knew my body reacted to rice. I would go to work and everybody would go to a Chinese or Thai restaurant at lunchtime, and they'd eat the rice and whatever they chose. If I ate the rice and whatever I chose, I'd be falling asleep for the second half of my day. So I knew that um, empirically that rice doesn't work for me. But when I saw it, it was even more powerful. So,
Yeah,
so
can be.
hack 8.
Oh, that's just. Did you happen to notice? I just want to bring this up because there's now a bit of a push to do an insulin and glucose measurement about 2 hours after your last meal. That this is where a serious spike and drop can occur. And with a continuous glucose monitor, you of course have that. But I think if you just were relying on finger sticks and testing blood glucose, you could miss that window. And I'm going to say this, I just had a client this week, and she had exactly that. She had her meal, and it wasn't in 2 hours, it was in 3 hours. And without that monitor, she wouldn't have been able to tell that. You also get a
Well,
cumulative data. You get to
get
know,
for the day,
yeah, for the day. What did you
your
find
average
for?
for the day. Well, before I got the continuous glucose monitor, I bought um, fingers finger sticks to check my glucose.
Yeah,
I I bought a whole bunch of them because I knew I was going to be doing this regularly, and I wanted to understand what was happening to me. Well, when I started pricking my finger, first of all, I have a little bit lowered circulation to my finger. So I had to shake my finger, put it under hot water, then prick it. And even then, sometimes I didn't get blood out. So there was pricking it again. And okay, so that's once a day. But if you're trying to really measure it and look at it throughout the day, you're going to have to prick yourself throughout the day. And guess what? That lasted about 2 or 3 days. And I said, no way am I going to do this. And so it's
I had
really,
a grown woman when those first came out. I was working in a pharmacy, and she was a nurse, and she taught nursing at one of the schools in the area. And she came up to me and she said, I have to do 6 samples a day.
whoa.
And she started crying.
Oh, yes. Well, guess what? I agree with her. So, yeah, it was too much for me. And I'm pretty tough, or at least I thought I was until I came up against this. Hack 8. And then we'll be through hacks. And then we've got some other things to talk about. Because let me just give you a little hint. What's happening is everybody's talking about GLP and Ozempic and Wegovy and all these things. But that is a natural hormone in our body. And there are foods that we know and tricks that we know that stimulate that hormone. So we're going to talk about it because with a little bit of help and a little bit of knowledge, you could be creating an elevated natural GLP increase in your body, which balances your hunger and suppresses your hunger hormone, your ghrelin. So let's go through these hacks and then let's get to that, okay? So after you eat, move. That's your muscles then will grab up the glucose and put them directly into the muscle rather than going surging up your insulin. So your insulin won't rise as high. So it can be up to 90 minutes after you eat. You could walk, you could sit and go toe heel, toe heel, toe heel, because your soleus muscle, which is really quite interesting, has the highest affinity for stimulating the uptake of glucose. So just the toe heel for 10 minutes, you could change the way your body relates to your glucose reading. Go on, Carol.
Okay, so savory snacks.
Okay, hack 9, savory snacks. Go on. That's my favorite, actually. I'm more into savory than sweet.
Uh, yeah, so protein, as we said, for breakfast, nuts, cheese, boiled eggs, veggies, and hummus rather than
With a
sweet
little
snacks.
salt.
Yeah, sounds good. One of the things she says somewhere, and I don't see it in my hack list right here, is at your meal. You really shouldn't have snacks because you've eaten enough at your last meal to hold you to the next meal. So snacking is really not encouraged by her. What do you think?
By anyone. And by people anywhere. You do not see snacking. We got heavy because the industry, the food industry, taught us to snack. You know, when I was growing up, when you were growing up, we'd go to play sports or uh, we'd have breakfast in the morning. There would be a lunch. We'd go to play sports and then we'd play the sports, the group sport. And then we'd come home and we want a cookie. No, 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 you're going to ruin your appetite. And then we'd have dinner. Okay? When my children were growing up, they wake up, they have breakfast, they have lunch. They come home from school, they get a snack. They go to the practice. In the middle of practice, they stop the practice and give out sweet snacks. And then kids come home, and often they have a cookie because nobody tells them not to eat, and then dinner. So it's a continuous bombardment of foods. They're being taught to overeat. You know, if you're feeling a little down, eat a Snickers bar. You know, and that's what they're being taught. And it ruined our metabolism because it gives our digestion can never rest. And that's the problem.
I remember, this is decades ago. Was it Pablo Aola? He was talking about hypoglycemia, particularly raising interest and attention to hypoglycemia that we hadn't had before. But if I remember correctly, his diet was very carbohydrate based, and you had to eat every 3 hours.
Oh my goodness.
Do you remember that?
I had people come in with bags of nuts in the middle of talking to me said, I have to eat, I have to eat. And they're chewing on food. They're walking out of the office chewing on food. They're being told to eat 5, 6 times a day. Pretty scary.
Yeah, I had a
So,
colleague at work who had her drawer full of snacks because this is what she was doing. And we had a rule, no eating at your desk. So she was eating her
now
snacks in
that,
spite of that. And
oh, my doctor told me.
yes.
My doctor told me, now hack 10 is put clothes on your carbs. Now, what does that mean? Remember Dr. Sears and his diet,
Yeah, the
where
zone
he would,
diet.
this, I was pulling that to get that name. The zone diet, he'd let you eat a steak and then you could have ice cream or you could have whatever you wanted because you had balanced it. Well, she says put clothes on your carbs. And what does that mean? That means balance your carbs. Don't just eat a straight carb meal, a fruit salad with honey over it and a dollop of yogurt, and that's your meal. Put clothes on it. Don't put the honey. Have your fruit salad. Put it with cottage cheese. Have some boiled eggs. Have some shrimp. Have some, whatever. But balance out your foods. And that's what we need to do. We have to have the awareness. The awareness is essential. The number to call is 212-209-2877. This is Take Charge of Your Health with Corinne and Carol. And the number to call is 212-209-2877. And right now we're going into GLP glucose hacks to naturally increase your GLP. The GLP is released in the intestines and it sends a signal to your hypothalamus and many other parts of the body also to feel satisfied. And it also, in that process, it naturally suppresses your hunger, the ghrelin hormone, as I said earlier. So it's a wonderful thing to have. And what is happening is we're eating, and the way we're eating is suppressing GLP. So these are just a couple of hacks that we can use to raise our GLP. I'll start
I
number 1.
oh
Go on,
okay, okay. Well, let me jump in. We already talked about
please.
this. Eating in the right order. And
Yes.
they've measured that GLP levels can rise as much as 38% and keep it high for
Whoa.
longer.
For
So
four
how
and
does
a
it?
half hours.
So
So you're not
this
hungry for
is
4.5 hours.
yeah. So this is still up and down. When we use like Ozempic, these drugs last for days, right?
Yeah, but 4.5 hours
That's pretty
is
decent.
exceptional for natural. And if you just eat without consciousness, just eat any way you feel like it, you're going to have sometimes an hour to an hour and a half max feeling satiation. When you eat certain foods, you've done this, I've done this. I've eaten certain foods and I look up and I'm hungry again. And that's what happened. The food did not stimulate the L cells in the intestines to release the GLP. Consequently, I go around and do what I do, and then very shortly, I think I'm hungry again. So having that consciousness that directs the foods correctly can really help your appetite.
Okay, we have a caller holding.
Whoa, I didn't see that. Hi, you're live. Your name, please.
Carol, Miss First
Your name.
Bronx, New York. Hello, Carol.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi,
anyway,
we need a
looking
little
for
Corinne.
louder.
Yeah,
thank you.
we're having trouble hearing you.
Are you?
Your name?
Please speak louder.
Who are you? Who are we speaking to?
Daryl from the
Daryl.
Bronx.
Oh,
Hi,
hi, Daryl.
Daryl.
We talk with you.
Yes, you have. I've been playing around with sugar. I've been having a sugar challenge for about 3 or 4 years. I'm sort of interested in, and I've been in and out of the hospital. Um, I think that it's more stabilized now, but I think that having an effect body wide, especially on my vision. And so I wanted to know, one, how much did you pay for your glucose monitor? Because I tried to get one when I was in the hospital, but I
And they
believe
wouldn't give it to you? They wouldn't give you a script? Your doctor should give you a script. You should just ask him and ask him and ask him again. You can buy a glucose monitor. Actually, you don't buy the monitor, you buy the probes. And they're like well, they can be 49 to 52, the over the counter ones, 49 to 52 every 14 days. But the doctor would give you a much more expensive set, and they're even a little bit more accurate. So I think you should call your doctor and then call him again and call him again and call him again. That old squeaky wheel that gets gets the grease, because you have the perfect diagnosis for for a glucose monitor. So thank you for calling.
I have
my
another
my
client.
appointment, my first appointment for my primary care physician under this medical system is in October.
Well, then it's 49 every 14 days. Go
Alrighty.
on, Carol. Carol.
Thank you so much
Okay.
for your help.
I have a client who just now got a monitor, and she's had a really a problematic health history, which I think probably involved insulin glucose imbalance and a couple things that happened to her in the past. One of the gold standards has been to feed people. What was it? 100 grams of glucose or 50 grams of glucose? I
Oh
forget the
yeah,
amount.
it's
And then
100
you
grams.
measure glucose and insulin in
This is
intervals.
what they do with pregnancy, but
And
also
and she had the test in her past, and she said she would never do such a thing ever again. She just went wild. It was so uncomfortable. Also, when you're pregnant, I asked her about her pregnancy, and women who aren't happy and glowy during their pregnancy don't have enough progesterone, and they develop um, diabetes of pregnancy. Uh, the
that's an
sugar, the sugar is needed for the developing fetus's brain. Progesterone had been doing that function, but then the back, uh, the saving thing is to actually have that diabetes, and she didn't go all the way to being diagnosed that way, but she had a very, very miserable pregnancy. These are clues in your life earlier on that this may be a big underlying situation. Corinne?
we have another caller, and I want to get some of those hacks in so people can know how to benefit their home
Okay.
and their lives. Hi, you're live. Your name, please.
Hello, how you doing? My
Hi.
name is Hey, hey, how you doing?
Terrific. How can we help you?
Basically, I just had two questions. Primarily, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes back in 2022. I've taken medication for it periodically, but now I've really I've got my blood sugar down to where it's about 100. I do the finger sticks. I don't have a glucose monitor. I usually do one in the morning, one in the evening. I work at night, and I primarily only eat one meal a day. My doctor has prescribed me Manjaro to take that every 7 days, 7.6,
Are you
5.
are you heavy?
I've lost a
What's
considerable amount of weight. I was initially I was 300 pounds. I've gotten down to 280 now. That's within the
great?
past about 2 months.
That's a,
I just wanted
that's
to
a
know,
step in the right direction.
yeah, well, I started exercising, but basically I wanted to know, number one, how do you feel about the one meal a day? Basically, that's all I really eat. I work at night. My hours are from 10 to 6, but I only really eat one meal a day. That's usually before I go to work at night. That's
Do
dinner.
you work?
I don't
Do
have.
you do you labor? What type of work do
Oh,
you do?
well, I'm a property manager. It's moderate labor. I mean, basically, I'm making building runs, checking, monitoring equipment, and monitoring systems. Not a lot of physical labor. Maybe every once in a while, replacing a fan motor, work like that. But primarily, it's just building rounds. I go up and down stairs and figure about 1,000
Uh huh.
a night.
Okay.
My
So I
school.
think I got an idea. So first of all, if you don't feel hungry, if you feel satisfied, but you're on meds, aren't you?
Yes, I take
Well, then
Manjaro, the injection.
uh, you take Manjaro.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So
7.7.5 milligram injection once a week.
yeah, yeah, that's the beginning dose.
Yeah.
Um, so what you might want to do, there's there are caveats with Majero. There are caveats with all the GLPs. There's one, two, three, and now a new one, retatrutide. They're all a little different, do a little different, but Majaro is the in the third um, in iteration or the third attempt at creating this. Now, what happens with with all the GLPs is that they stimulate your body to lose fat. Now, when you stimulate your body to lose fat, it will lose. They stimulate your body to lose weight, and if you're not eating right, you will lose muscle over fat. You could lose 30% of your muscle. So when you're taking Majaro, you have to be eating adequate protein. So you've got to look at your foods. This is not just a regular diet. You have to take your protein. If you don't, you're going to end up, when you get off of this, you're going to end up gaining your weight back. But here you've lost 30% of your muscle. You're going to gain 2/3 of your weight back in a year. And the end result, it's all going to be fat. There'll be no muscle increase. So you need to be exercising and you need to be taking adequate protein. So what I would do if I were you is I'd eat 2 boiled eggs plus your dinner, but you better look at the content of your dinner and eat some vegetables, eat some protein, and then if you want a piece of bread, you can eat a little piece of bread or something starchy, but I would really focus on that, the protein, or you're going to end up not so happy you did this. Another thing there's two other things. There's
Yeah.
three things that are musts when you're dealing with GLP. One, protein. You've got to eat adequate protein. Two, waters. You've got to drink good amounts of waters. But number three, and these are not optional, you should be exercising and exercise with some weights. And if you do that, you might end up gaining muscle rather than losing.
Well, I
So it's
did. I
not,
started Yeah, I've started exercising last. Well, I've been on the GLP Manjaro for about a month. It started me with the point with 5, and then now they're up to 7.5. I exercise about 30 minutes a night, roughly 4 to 5 times a week. I've just started incorporating weights. I was using like just regular calisthenics, push-ups, sit-ups, evening
uh-huh. I
cardio, things of that nature. And I eat
call,
primarily vegetables and protein, either meat or fish. I don't really eat I don't eat any bread hardly because of the carbs. But yeah, I've been doing that. I was aware of the
the rules.
the detriment.
Okay, we have someone else and we got just 2 minutes to talk to them. So call us back and tell us how you're doing. That's very important. We'd like to follow you. Okay? Hi, you're live. Your name, please?
Yes, it's Gwen. Hi, ladies. You helped
Hi.
me so much with your
Hi,
testing. Guess what? My
how are you?
phone went away. I'm okay. I'm sorry. I really want to ask you this question. My mother is 100, and she recently started to get pressure ulcers on her heels, on the hips, buttocks, and I started to use honey. I forget the first name of the honey.
Manuka, honey.
Yes, okay. I used the Manuka honey, but then I called a couple of people that were in the do health food stuff, and they said that they felt that was too stimulating. And when I went online, they said don't put it on a wound that's open. But the caretaker has asked me to
Okay,
get
let me tell you, I have a list of things I want to share with the audience very quickly. This is a very long and important question, but you can type it out to us and we'll answer you to the best of our ability. But right now, this is not, we've got 2 minutes to talk.
okay.
So let me thank you very much for calling. I appreciate it. So let me just, number two, chew your food. Chewing, the process of chewing stimulates GLP release. That's so you drink your juices, no GLP release, no sense of satisfaction.
There
So
was
the
this.
process of chewing stimulates. Go on.
There was a popular diet in spas in Germany, and you would only eat one hard roll per day, and you had
But
to
it was
take
hard and you really
you
had to chew.
you had to take a little bite of that hard roll and chew in your mouth until it liquefied in your
Was
mouth.
what? Well, they were stimulating the GLP, which was stimulating the satisfaction. Now, many of you have heard of this, but many haven't really used it. Yerba mate, that's very popular in
Oh,
Argentina,
yeah, South America.
South
I
America, Brazil, and Argentina, and it stimulates GLP-1 release. And then the next one, very quickly, I know I very quickly, is lemon extract. And if you could scrape a little of the skin, the rind, and just shred it and put it in your drink, and that's a key. It helps, and high protein foods. And Carol, what's your what's your
we're at the end.
website?
My website is the Wellness by Design Project. I also have the same name for a YouTube channel and share a lot of information there. On Facebook, find us also at Progesterone for Men. We have a radio show uh, opportunity at at the Facebook. What is it at the Facebook? Take Charge of Your Health Radio.
Take charge of your health with Corinne and
Corinne
Carol.
Carol. Okay. And your website,
Okay,
Corinne?
Corinne Health. And I also have a Facebook. I share a Facebook with Carol, Take Charge of Your Health Radio, but I also have a Facebook, Corinne Fernari, PA. CDN. And
And your
it's
website.
wonderful to speak with you. Oh, Corinne Health.
Okay.
Corinne Health is my. So it's wonderful to speak with you. It's wonderful to spend this time with you. So I know that incorporating any piece of this information will help your life improve. Thank you, and we'll be
Thank,
back next week. Thanks,
thank
Carol.
you. Thanks, Reggie and Jeremy, for helping today.
Definitely.
Bye.
Bye bye.